Hi, this is Pastor James. I am the new pastor here at College Hill, and if we've not met yet, well, I'm looking forward to getting to meet you and know you. Last Sunday was our first Sunday here, and the highlight for me here was definitely when you gathered around us as a church family to start off the service. Margaret Williams led us in prayer, and you prayed for us here. Thank you for praying for us. Thank you for so warmly welcoming us. I wanted to take a moment to send this video to you as a devotional sort of centered around this Saturday, which is Independence Day, the 4th of July. And I want to start by sharing a passage. It comes from the book of Galatians, chapter 5, verse 1, and it says this: "For freedom, Christ has set us free. Stand fast, therefore, and do not submit again to a yoke of slavery." Paul was writing to the early believers, and they knew what it meant to have faith in Christ and how they had received grace through this faith. But there were these Judaizers who Paul was warning them about, who wanted to add the law to them. They wanted to say, no, it's not enough just to have faith. You have to add circumcision, and you've got to follow the law to really know God. And Paul is pointing out that it was for freedom that we've been set free. And in fact, that freedom can be easily taken for granted. In 1991, I shared on Sunday as a part of my testimony that I got to go and live in the Soviet Union. The area where I lived was the Republic of Kazakhstan, and during that time it broke apart and became its own separate nation. And I got to be a part of a team of people who planted the very first Kazakh church, a church amongst an unreached people group. I met my wife, Michelle, there, who was also serving there at the time. It's a very special time for us in our lives, a very important time in the history of the people that were there. And one of the things I will never forget is what it was like as people came and worshiped God for the very first time. Now, it was the first church, so there was no buildings for them. So we met in our homes, and people would gather and they'd share testimonies and prayer, and we worshiped God together. Just the freedom of being able to gather and worship and not have to worry about who's going to watch, what's going to happen as a ramification for this. People were hungry to know God. In 1790, College Hill got started as the Methodist Society 225 years ago. People met in their homes, they shared testimony and prayer, just like the church in Kazakhstan in 1991. Back then, people were experiencing the newfound freedom of a nation. And so we celebrate the 4th of July in a similar way. One of the things I learned, though, was that freedom can easily sort of deteriorate when we don't spend it wisely. One of the things that I saw there very quickly were that little stores cropped up, kiosks. And at first, some of the things they sold, I was kind of glad for. For example, Snickers candy bars was something that I could find there. And that was kind of nice. But they began to sell things out of these kiosks that came right from America that I was ashamed of. It was embarrassing. And it was the worst parts of our society. Freedom was such a high price, and to spend it on those things, it seemed so cheap. Paul went on in the book of Galatians, chapter 5, verse 13, to share this with them. He said, "For you were called to freedom, brethren, only do not use your freedom as an opportunity for the flesh, but through love be servants of one another. For the whole law is fulfilled in one word: you shall love your neighbor as yourself. But if you bite and devour one another, take heed that you are not consumed by one another." God has freed us so that we might choose. That freedom is a wonderful, wonderful gift. But it has to be used wisely. We need to choose wisely. And when I look at all the possible choices that we have in life, all the things that might be there, what's better than the gift of grace that we've received by choosing faith in Jesus Christ? There's nothing more valuable. There's nothing more powerful. There's nothing more lasting, for it's forever. This Sunday, it's going to be the 5th of July. It'll be the first Sunday of the month, and we will be celebrating Holy Communion together. I hope that you'll take the opportunity to join us as we celebrate that as a church family, and as I have the opportunity for the first time to be able to serve that with you. And I look forward again to getting